So this is what application profiler. So in this example, goes back to the little example I gave earlier. I want to create an application profile for VLC. Again, because VLC is simple, pretty straightforward, the application has to be installed on my box. Then I'm going to change something. In this case, I'm actually putting it to French, and I'm going to get a custom skin. And I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to exit. That's going to generate files with predefined settings. Of course, I have to choose when I close it at the top to save with predefined settings. So I'm going to save. I save with predefined settings. And now I have VLC with French and a custom interface. So I give it a name. I will actually move that information to my UEM config folder. Right? So now I'm done. I did my config information. I go to UEM. I do a refresh because I have the console open. You see VLC is not there, but I just added the file to it. It reads the share information again, and you have VLC with DirectFlex enable and some predefined settings on the predefined settings tab. So that's the first step. Now I want to actually enable TNAP. So you can have the hard full path. It's not a problem. But in the case of TNAP, it's not going to run from C program files, right? It might run from a shared location, from a UNC share. So right now I'm going to look for the executable itself. And then I got into my shortcut, and when I actually did it, the shortcut was already there, so I just drag and drop it in the UEM console. What's cool about it is it will populate the different fields automatically. Right? So I don't have, if I don't remember it, I just, drag and drop from the TNAP package to that location. And I'm going to put a shortcut on the desktop. I'm going to undo that shortcut at shortcut refresh, and I'm going to run this asynchronously. Right? So that's from a UEM perspective. So I have predefined settings for VLC. I have my shortcut defined. Now I'm actually going to show you from a user perspective what it looks like. So I have a Windows 10 desktop, logging in, processing the UEM information, preparing Windows. That's not us. And then I have the VLC media player shortcut showing up. So I'm going to open up the app wizard that show you that there's no VLC installed right now. That's the case with any TNAP packages unless you do a registration. By default, it just looks like this. I'm going to close it down, and I'm going to open up VLC. So in this case, I haven't used VLC at all in this box, right? It's the first time I'm using it. The TNAP package starts. UEM is running as an agent. I received a predefined setting for this specific application. Even if you can't read it, believe me, it's in French. And then you get the custom skin. So now, because I have DirectFlex enabled, I want to let the user change something. So in my case, I'm going back to American English, and it saves on exit. So when you actually close it down, it will save it. And if the user opens the VLC package again, the TNAP package, keeping in mind, I haven't done anything to TNAP, it will retain that information, the configuration information, and now it's going to open in English with the regular UI, right, with the default skin. Right? I let the user modify his settings, not an issue. I guess that was an example of, hey, VLC can actually play videos. So that's the whole point. So DirectFlex enable, TNAP package, save my settings. I gave you predefined settings, but I did save them. I'm good to go. Now I'm going to go into App Volume Manager and entitle that same user to a VLC package, to a VLC app stack. Sorry. So you're going to go into volumes. I did pre-provision that, so there's already an existing VLC package. I go into it. I assign it to the same person, Richard. I do assign immediately. So I choose Richard. I do assign. That's been done live. I will go back to my desktop, and you'll see that there's a VLC application that's going to show up in the upper left corner. But that one's now an app stack. It's not a shortcut, and those settings were saved again. Right? So same settings from TNAP to app volumes without changing anything. And again, just doing an example of, hey, it can actually play a video as well. Right? So this is just the tip of the iceberg. And now if you go into the application wizard, you'll see that the VLC is showing up because, again, it's an app volume package, so it's seen as being native within the environment. So two very quick examples. Right? Oh, this is, the last step is actually we'll revert back. So when I was talking about the backups, this is a good example, right? I say, you know what, reset to the default. And if you remember, the default when we set it up in UEM was French with custom skins. So now, even though it's an app stack that had previous settings, it's going back to the default, and the default was French with custom settings.